Welcome to the podcast. Well, this is the first one. So, welcome to the first podcast. Yes, welcome to the first podcast of the CC's podcast. I guess we're going with subject to change. I'm Cypress. I've been in the community before the day one of stream on the Dsmp. I watched like Wilbur first. I'm pretty positive for when he was on Techno's server or whatever that was. I started around then. And then I've made a lot of content. Content I've made on the Dsmp, related to it, is the texture pack, as you can see, and then some joke videos. Your turn.
And hi, I'm Cruelladekil. You can call me Crew. I have been a member of the Dsmp community for a while, and I think since 2020 when it all started. Been playing Minecraft for several years, and I've made a lot of MCYT content on TikTok and on Twitch, and we're excited to talk to you. Welcome to the first podcast.
Yes, I'm excited because today are two topics that we have planned. It might wander. We kind of just go crazy with it. But the first topic is the general lore and introduction to us. And then we're going to go right into the Death book and Death Note relations to this SMP right now. Because I love the Death Note.
Cypress has theories.
I have so many, and it's so upsetting. But I have an outlet now, and this is my outlet.
Yeah, and we can't wait to talk to you guys about our theories and hear yours down in the comments.
For sure. Feel free to leave those and share on Twitter even. Our Twitters are at Cypress_tweets.
I'm sure they'll be linked.
Cruelladekil.
Our Twitters will be linked somewhere.
Yes. I'll edit a couple little pop-ups or something. But the general lore, I guess we could go over. What's the first thing you remember of the lore? Like, if you think of Dsmp lore.
I mean, my first live stream that I caught live was the festival. And I had not really...
That would have been a real big introduction.
It was, and I had no idea. Like, I had watched a few VODs, I think caught a few streams from other people before, but I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. But it was such an impactful, really just big stream that I just kept watching, and now I've got far too many channel points on far too many streamers. And so for me, I think that's always what I come back to, the festival. I think it's such a turning point for so many characters in their development.
Oh, sure.
That for me, that's what I like to think of.
I'm trying to think. I think my first introduction to it all was the drug ban.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So with Wilbur, and it was his stream because I got introduced through Wilbur through his 100 players versus something series, and then he joined the Dsmp later on, and I really got into it. I watched stream first, but I thought that was just a one-off stream that they weren't going to do anymore, and then I stopped really paying attention to it, and then I found Wilbur on that server, and I'm like, wait, this is still going? And I watched that stream. Wilbur just making drugs on the SMP. I'm like, okay, well, this is interesting. And then it just went downhill from there. I have too many stickers.
And now we are in this room.
Too many stickers to count at the moment.
It's this room with all this stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it was an interesting first stream. I'm not gonna lie. I remember watching the three idiots make their community house, but I didn't really pay attention to it being an actual SMP that other people were joining. And then
it wasn't at that point. It really wasn't. It was
yeah. And then Tommy got it, and then just went downhill from there, I guess, or uphill, I guess. One of the two, whatever you want to call it.
It went somewhere, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, I just remember it being the morons fighting, and then it just went to lore, for sure.
Do you think it's a lore-based server now?
I would say so, because nobody really plays on it unless it's for lore now. from what I've observed. I mean, like, they do their things on there. Like, Phil will do his buildings occasionally, and, like, so will Techno. But, like, I feel like everybody pays attention to the server the moment there's lore happening.
Yeah, and I think some people forget. So, like, I watch a lot of Punk. Punk is on there quite frequently.
Oh, he was
just messing around. And, like, there was a long time he was on, like, every weekday, every morning doing Dsmp stuff. And Foolish was doing the same stuff with all of his mega builds.
And he's been losing his mind, so he stopped doing that recently.
But I think it's at a point now where it's less of a kind of mess around with friends server, because I think it's just grown to the point where the association between lore and the Dsmp is so strong that's
all they can do.
That's what it's. I think it's a vessel for at this point, and that's not to say other people don't, because we just said that people do. It's just I think the association is far too strong.
Yeah, if you look up Dsmp on YouTube, it's always lore based, like like the festival or like the prison arc and stuff like that. It was so weird seeing Dream streaming on the server, and it was just him answering questions one time as well. He did that recently where he just streamed on the server, which really threw me off.
That's how you got these blocks, right? You asked him?
Yeah, I asked him on stream. I asked him, and he gave me the 2 little blocks here that I like the most. No biased.
Right.
I promise.
But there's been some interesting developments in terms of lore. I know there was a big holding pattern, kind of like the prison break and the Rambu kind of death, I think, was slated to happen several months ago, and had been all fleshed out.
Nobody had time to do it. That's the problem. And then also, like, people were traveling so much, so that's why it took so long.
Yeah, and so I think, but we've seen now, onto maybe like one of our topic points, the Death Note. It's a very interesting.
I'm excited to see where they take it. I'm not gonna lie, I was not expecting, like, because, like, the superpowers thing, like, I guess you wouldn't call it a superpower, but, like, the superpower thing was just related to Rambu at the time, because he could silk things up with his hands. I wonder if he can still do that as well. And then, well, I guess, time travel with Carl. But there's another topic with that we'll just get into another time, because that's a whole other thing I could get into for an hour.
But it was so funny because Cypress and I will watch streams and then just message each other as it's going on, or BNBCs together. And as soon as, like, there was a point in time when I think DreamXD was talking about the fact that there was another book. Yeah, no, he mentioned
on Foolish's stream, saying that there's another book and that he wants Foolish to find it. And he couldn't tell him where it was, but he said that somewhere, and it's been there and it hasn't moved and nobody's found it. And then
it was just so funny because you and I both went Death Note.
Yeah, like, or we were like, what could the other book be? And I was like, maybe it's Carl's book, but I don't think it's so, because he said it wasn't found yet. And so it's like, I really wondered, and I'm like, okay, if the other one's a life book, like, it can revive people, we're gonna guess Death Note. And I'm like, wait, Sapnap made Dream watch Death Note. Is this going to be Death Note? And I was, like, going off, like, okay, who's gonna be Watsuri, if that's even gonna be a thing? And then who's gonna be, L? And I'm really wondering if they're gonna continue with, like, that trope of, like, with the actual Death Note, storyline of, like, having, like, a high-end detective on there, or, like, have somebody be the middleman of the 2 books and deal with it. Like, so, I'm guessing probably Punz, I think.
If you're unfamiliar, there is an anime out there that's just called Death Note. And we're seeing a lot of parallels between the Death Note that was found, the Death book in the Dsmp, and Death Note, the anime. And so, and we know Dream has watched it, and I think DreamXD referenced it, actually.
Yeah, he did. He told Sapnap, I liked Death Note, so I made it.
Which is just so funny.
Which confirmed me. I wanted to do this podcast beforehand, but it was too late, and I was like, whatever, we'll just wait. But he said that, and I'm like, I was right. Oh my god, I knew it. I was so happy that I was right. There was so many their Twitter DMs and then went over to Discord DMs, and it was probably in like TikTok DMs at some point. We talk on like 8 different platforms at the same time. It's really bad.
Right. But moving, like, so if we go over to the conspiracy board, what are your theories, Cypress?
I think none of these are actually connected.
Okay, but like let's talk theories. So what does the death book mean for the Dream SMP?
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, even it can override Foolish's power that he's been given by DreamXD, confirmed by DreamXD himself, and then he can't kill Dream. So, is he even gonna use it?
Well, I think the whole introduction of the death book is the whole point is to check the power that Dream has, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it can't be used
on Dream.
So unless Dream gives up the revive book. That's
and that I don't think is gonna happen.
You don't think so?
I mean, I guess he did give it to a Punz at some point, but I don't think he will. If somehow he finds out, well, I guess he doesn't know. If he gives it up, he can die. Mm-hmm. But Sapnap will never know if it was given to Punz. So it's like, is there ever going to be the risk with it? Like, will he ever know?
So if it's not meant to be a check on Dream's power, there was something that Sapnap and kind of DreamXD talked about, in the sense that Dream and Sapnap could work together.
He thought about that. He did in the stream, but
where Sapnap kills people.
Yeah.
Dream revives, and so forth and so forth. But the thing is, I think it came. Correct me if I'm wrong. Once Sapnap uses it and he dies, like canon, all done deaths. I don't think Dream can revive him at that. I don't think it can be used to revive him.
I don't think so, because he doesn't get a limbo, and so in theory he can't be revived. I don't think
he's just gone. You can't pluck him out of nothing. So to that end, it'll be a very interesting, because we have not seen a lot of Sapnap lore, if any. We get the whole I was born in fire thing, like every now and then, but that's about it. We don't really know much about the character other than he and Dream have been really good friends, but Sapnap realized that Dream had kind of gone off the deep end.
I mean, he does threaten Dream. He has the Dream prison arc at one point, and then that's about it. Well, was he ever involved in any of the wars, really? Other
than fighting with Dream, which is the same as kind of like Punz and some of the others.
Yeah.
It was always just, I'm on Dream's side until the prison arc, basically, where then Sapnap said, if you get out, I am going to come after you.
Yeah.
And I'll be the one to do it. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm excited for this character to kind of get some screen time, get some development. See what kind of the motives are. Any. Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? Is he somebody who just wants... I think, through his conversation with DreamXD, he wants the best for the people around him. Mm-hmm. And so, because he's like,
I don't care Carl, as long as Dream is dead, kind of thing. Like,
yeah,
I don't
as long
care
as
about
Carl and the people I love are safe. If I use this and I die, that's just the cost of doing business.
That brings up the point. What if Carl forgets Sapnap?
Forgets Sapnap?
Yeah. How?
I don't know.
I'm wondering where they go with that, if they ever do.
I don't think it would impact character Sapnap's decisions.
I could see him acting rash.
So, but like in the way that the Death Note works, I think, of course, he has those that he really cares for on the server.
Yeah.
But I think if he thinks he's doing the best for everyone, he's gonna be in the best for those around him. Like whatever decision has to be made, I think he's ready to do it. But we did see that kind of tinge of, maybe we could work together. Maybe we could.
Maybe I could do that. That sounds fun.
And he did say he was concerned that Foolish knew, and that he seemed interested in the idea of using it on Foolish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's true. And
which is very self-serving, which is like the antithesis of the whole I'm doing what's best around me.
yeah,
those
that
around
it's
me.
very different for his characters. So it's like exploring like character development or change or something like that.
Yeah, so that's why I'm interested to see how this all plays out and how the death book is used in order to kind of further not only like the Sapnap arcs, but also the arcs around the server. I don't know how it can play into.
I wonder how Dream and George are going to play together, because George had his whole sleep nightmare dream thing, but
I always
like
wonder how much, like, yes, it's lore, but it's also like we always talk about it as like in parentheses, you know, or quotations, George lore.
true,
You know,
but like he had
like,
like
it's so-
Carl come in as like a
It's
time
just
traveler, and he doesn't know Carl's a time traveler, so that's what really threw me off.
And that's what makes me like. I think I treat George lore as very tangential to the kind of more like to throw in a Marvel reference, the sacred timeline, if you will. I think it's like a branch off. Like it's still relevant, but I just don't know
The
how
sleep
much
lore.
of it because it's all dreams too, is it not? So like
Yeah.
how much can you
But the thing
really
is,
read into it if it's
How
not
much
real?
is Dream XD messing with it?
Mm.
Because Dream
That's a
XD
good
messes with
point.
dreams. He always
Like-
talks about George's dreams and then messing with
And he
Bad Boy
mess-
Halo's dreams.
Yeah, so you think maybe Dream XD is behind?
I think he might be. He could be
Interesting.
trying to
That's
like.
a good point.
That's what I think. I could be entirely reaching and giving.
And
Dream
well, we
George
do
too
know
much
that
credit.
Dream XD does have a soft spot for George.
True. Does give
so-
George a lot of items.
and wanted to be his friend.
Yes. Even though George is like, who the hell?
What in the demon?
Well,
yeah.
the recent stream though gave him subtitles, and I think that the Carl stream, which
Mhm.
like made a lot of people happy. I noticed. I was like, I never really had a problem with it personally, but I guess a lot of people weren't good at understanding him, which I thought
He
was
did
funny.
get a bit mumbled sometimes, and I think Foolish made the offhanded comment one time when he popped in. Like,
Oh,
just
yeah.
very offhanded, and he was like, "You need to come with subtitles or something." So I think that's how we got there.
I think
which
his
is
voice
great.
changer makes him sound very odd sometimes. 'Cause
Yes,
he
it's
did say
very
the word
muffled.
clock, and it didn't sound like that, but it's what he
Ooh.
said. And I thought that was like, yeah, it's a good thing he had subtitles. Yeah.
So, anything else on Death Note type stuff, or like where
If we were
think
going
it's
to go more into, it could go into more of what Carl's going on, I think. And that would be a whole different, that we could do a whole episode on that, of just Carl and his books, and then just like how that's all involved, because if Dream XD is involved in that. I think Dream XD is going to be a big lore part for this half season.
Or we could go into like the parallels of just like Death Note and the Death Book. Like, you know, there are like so many rules. They're
very
like,
similar, not gonna
who
lie.
who is L? Who is like obviously Sapnap would be light.
Yeah, no.
At the end of the day, there
I
has to
honestly, I see like the Death Note and the Life and the Revive book similarly as well, because they don't have that in Death Note. Revive book, they don't have one of those, and so I'm thinking Dreams light, with how his attitude is comparatively.
Yeah,
Like he gets a god complex with it.
like in terms of literary foils, in order for a character to have motives, in order for a character to like further a plot line, you have to be working for or against something.
Mhm.
And I think that Sapnap is the problem is I can't tell if he's working against or for Dream at this point, and that's why I'm excited to see.
Yeah,
like,
no,
the
because they
next
didn't go far
chapter.
into it at all.
Yeah.
He just basically said, I'll think about it, or like I'm not sure, things like that, and then Dream XD left.
Mhm.
And so that'll be interesting. But I think L could be Punz. He's gonna
L.
find out about both books, and he's gonna be stuck between. And I think he's gonna have to
Oh.
figure out a big change with everything, and or die
Yeah.
because of it.
This is an interesting point that I've wanted to bring up, because in the prison, obviously Dream did not have the Revive book on him because
Uh-huh.
he had been experimenting and I think
Oh.
gotten to the point where he memorized it. But he was also working with Punz at the same time. does
how-
Punz
No.
know how the revive book works?
But if you go to the Dreams video that he did on his
Mhm.
his DreamXD account,
Yeah.
they both worked on it together. So I'm assuming they both do.
So Dream is now do we think that Dream is no longer the only person who knows how to revive somebody on the server?
That's what I thought. But I thought that they had. I'm thinking when he was in the prison, he gave the books to Punz, and they
Mhm.
somehow communicated
Mm-hmm.
the revival of Wilbur.
I think that was just a Dream impulse thing.
But he didn't have the book though.
Yeah, but he said at some point he didn't need it. He didn't need it for
He said
Tommy
he
either.
destroyed it, but I don't think he can
Yeah.
destroy those.
But like, regardless, he didn't need the physical book
Oh, true.
to do what he did.
He did have books
Is
though
it-
from Sam, so I'm thinking he needs books.
So, but yeah, he doesn't need the physical book anymore. He said he memorized it. He said he doesn't need it. We saw it. There was nothing like a physical book that we saw when Tommy or Wilbur were revived.
True. I
And
thought he burned the book in the lava when he revived
I don't know.
because he had the
I'd have
books
to go
from
back and
Sam
check.
in his thing. Maybe, yeah.
You think he was writing it down? But like,
I have to write
guess
something
it's
down
just like,
to revive them.
I guess it's just like, obviously you don't need like, I don't know. It's not like some thing
Wait,
you have, some
wait.
physical thing.
In the video, DreamXD video on his YouTube channel, he throws books into lava, and then Dream
Right.
and Vicstar and Laserbeam pop back up. So I'm
Mhm.
assuming he has to write something in a book, throw it in lava, and then revive them.
Okay.
So,
But
he has to
if
have a book.
if Punz knows that though,
That
can he do it?
I'm maybe if he memorized it as well, then yeah,
Okay.
that would be interesting to
Interesting.
see what he does with it if he can do anything with it. Because DreamXD hasn't said anything about Punz, and so I'm assuming DreamXD doesn't know, or
He knows all. Come on.
he's actually
omnipotent
kind
God.
of a moron. Watching Foolish's streams and him experiencing things is quite funny, and how he fakes not knowing stuff. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming he doesn't know about Punz. A lot of people don't know about Punz. Punz is like a
Nobody-
really big background character that could pull a huge amount of strings.
That's the thing. No,
Just come
it's
out
not
of
that
nowhere.
people don't know. It's people don't bother to think
Yeah.
about.
Well, they think
that
Punz isn't on
character.
his side, though, I think, as well.
But also, like, his whole like MO is a mercenary, right? Going
same as
where
Purple.
he's paid most, but also he keeps a very low profile for the most part. You
Mhm.
know, so I mean, part of it is because Punz
doesn't
never
log on.
plays Minecraft anymore, and he's a Valorant streamer now. But I think also people just don't think to think about Punz
True.
because there's never really been a reason to. Because he's not making power plays. I mean, obviously we saw the portal, and that was like, you know, in the big layer, and that was a power move. But it was also everyone else was there too, you know.
True.
So I think Punz is flying under the radar.
And he's
I think
doing good with it, for sure.
And I think Sapnap is gonna have to figure out if he wants to work against or for Dream using
Mhm.
this book.
Mhm.
Whether it's gonna be Revive Book versus Death Note or what. So
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be interesting.
I'm excited about it. I don't know about you.
I am.
So-
I want to see where Punz plays a part in this, because the only time we've seen him is on Dream's stream. And I think he was streaming that day as well, but he hasn't streamed in the server since.
Yeah. Well, be on the lookout for a Punz stream? Question mark.
If he
Punz,
streams
please.
Minecraft, you know it's Laura. I'm betting you right now.
or it's speed runs at 2 a.m. I'm fine with either.
That too.
But yeah, so anything else we need to tie up?
I guess not. Basically, leave ideas in the comments of what you think is gonna happen with this stuff, and then
And leave if you guys want us to talk about a particular topic,
Yeah.
please let us know.
yeah, for sure.
We're excited to share our stuff, our theories with you, and talk
We
about the
just
stuff
needed an
that
outlet,
we
guys.
like. Yeah, and
Twitter DMs are just filling up too much at this point.
but we're also excited to hear from you guys.
Yeah.
So please
No,
let us
I
know.
like more opinions. I like to see like other opinions. Like I'll go on Twitter and I'll just see like silly opinions and stuff like that, or George simping. So I want to see actual opinions and not just that stuff. So feel free to share. And then also, if you have any friends that are like not in the Dsmp fandom or anything, or like are looking to get into it, feel free to share the podcast. Like, I feel like it would expands it. Like the Dsmp isn't bad. It can be the fandom. So I feel like we should improve it.
I think the other thing that keeps people from joining at this point is the lore is very complex. And that's
Yeah.
what we're trying to do here is break it down, talk about certain stuff. And like we
Talk
said,
about
if
the
there's
important things.
yeah, and if there are things you want us to talk about, leave it down below in the comments.
Yeah. I think that's about it then.
Well, we will see you guys next time.
For sure. Thank you for tuning in.
Bye.
Ow.
High five, Cypress.